Hi, everybody. I have a secret to share with you. I have figured out how to predict the future. And I'm not H.G. Wells. I'm not Doctor Who. Heck, I'm not even Marty McFly. But I have figured out how to predict the future. This piece of equipment right here is something called a magic touch window. A magic touch window, the way it works is you take this piece of equipment and you hang it on a computer monitor. And when you hook it up, it helps somebody who has physical difficulties controlling the mouse. They can now control the computer by touching it with their fingers. In the video that's playing here behind me, you'll see a student using something called word prediction technology. Now, the way word prediction software works is that as a student types, it's predicting with a set of words based on the context that the student uses. So let's say if the student was trying to type the word encyclopedia, they would type an E and an N and a C, and a list of words would come up like enclose, encounter, and encyclopedia. And they could choose from that list of words what they were trying to put in. Word prediction software significantly decreases the number of keystrokes a student needs to make to get the words in. And as the theory goes, it increases the number, it increases their spelling ability. Because they're not practicing spelling the word over and over and over again the wrong way and then using spell check to correct it. They're seeing it right the first time. And that's something called errorless learning. The Magic Touch window and word prediction technology, both of those came out in around 1986, 1987. So now, all of you, let me see your devices. Hold them up. Hold them up. Let me take a look, right? Now you take a look at them. How do you access your device? It's through touchscreen technology, right? And then when you flip that thing on and you're texting your loved ones, or you're emailing somebody, or you're even doing something as simple as a Google search, what's happening? It's word prediction technology, right? The words are coming up to help you. And for proficient users, this decreases the number of errors they make, and it increases their productivity. So two pieces of technology that came out in the late 1980s are now used widely by the rest of us. So that got me thinking, what other pieces of technology are out there being used by people with disabilities that really could be used by all of us? So let's take a look at some different disability groups, shall we? We'll start here with people who have hearing impairments or who are deaf. There's a piece of technology they've used for years that we could all benefit from. Okay? It's closed captioning. Closed captioning is available just about on every single television. And as studies show, that people who use closed captioning actually turn out to be better readers. Helps them with reading comprehension. So, thought, why don't I see closed captioning at more people's homes and in more classrooms? Maybe it's because teachers don't know how to turn on the captions. Maybe people at home don't know how to turn on the captions. So let's do an activity. Will you do one with me? Will you do one with me? All right, let me see your thumbs. Can you put your thumbs up in the air? Stick them way up there. That probably just won't hurt at all. Now, shake them around, and then drop the hammer down. If you can do that, your thumb up and down, you can turn the captions on. And you can help students become better readers. Now that's, of course, if you're doing TV, but what about internet video? Internet video has become widely popular. There's this one website, and I don't know, it's kind of an obscure website. You might not have heard of it before. It's called YouTube. Oh, this is great because there's all sorts of instructional videos that you can use there. And guess what? YouTube has a closed caption button. But again, I go into a lot of classrooms and very rarely do I see the captions on. So I thought, I'm a trainer at heart. I like to teach people how to do these things. Can you zoom in here on me in 1 second? If you're going to watch this video later, right, the closed caption button is right down here. Okay? If it's not there, it means the video is not captioned, but many, many, many YouTube videos are captioned. And of course, commercial videos as well. So, closed captioning, so important to help people become better readers. People ask me all the time, Chris, what's your favorite reading app? What's your favorite reading website? And my answer is, have you turned the captions on? Turning the captions on is so important. I ask teachers all the time, if you're a teacher in your classroom, make your classroom a captions on classroom. If you're a principal, some principals in the audience, make your school a captions on school. If you're a superintendent, make your school district a captions on school district. And if you're a parent, make your home a captions on home. Your students will become better readers. Now that's all helping people with reading difficulties, right? Or people who are learning to read. Well, what about people with reading difficulties? What do they use? What's one strategy we can use with them? We use something called text-to-speech. Text-to-speech is nothing more than taking digital text on your screen, hitting a little play button, and it plays it back out loud to you. It's actually built in to your on your phones, and especially if you have an Apple devices, it's built in there. And if it's not, if your students don't have these devices, they're using desktop computers. There's plenty of free software out there that works. There's plenty of commercial software too, where you can get just the right voice just for you. Why is text-to-speech so important? Because anyone who's learning to read, they come to a word that they don't know, they hit that little play button, and then they listen to it, right? And now they can learn what that word is. And if it's a sentence, they can learn what that sentence is. And they can help understand their meaning using their auditory. Text-to-speech, how is that useful for the rest of us? Well, anyone who ever does any writing can use text-to-speech as an editing tool. Put yourself back into third grade. Remember when you were in third grade and your teacher gave you your editing checklist? You had to check for spelling, check for punctuation, check for capitalization. Hey, did I read it over? Yes. Now, this day and age, we have one other strategy we ask students to do. That is, did you listen to it? Plenty of authors go back and they listen to their work before they turn it into their publisher or into their editor. Why? Because their ears will catch the mistakes that their eyes didn't, right? So anyone can use text-to-speech. I ask teachers all the time, I say, okay, well, in fact, let me just do another demonstration. Will you participate with me? Okay? I'm going to ask you a question. Okay? You yell out the answer, right? And it's got to be really loud because I'm the only one mic'd. Okay? So yell it out as loud as you can. What's 3 plus 3? 6. Okay, you can do better. What's 4 plus 4? 8. Right? You just know that, right? That's in you, right? So I'm going to ask you, if you're a teacher, what's your text-to-speech tool? If you don't know, someone knows their text-to-speech tool, cool. If you don't know what your text-to-speech tool is, that's your homework. Go back out there, find out what your text-to-speech tool is. Make sure there's one on any device a student ever touches because they can use it to help them become better readers and better writers. Okay, text-to-speech, primarily an auditory tool, right? Listening. So people, there's a whole population out there of people who have been using audio for a long time, and that's people with visual impairments. People who are blind or have low vision have been using audio for a long time. In fact, one of the pieces of technology we used to use back in the day was something called, you might remember this, books on tape, right? Listen to audio stories. But books on tape moved away, and now we have something called audiobooks, right? And look at that vast library of audiobooks at our public library that my kids are standing in front of. Yeah, it's small, right? Because audiobooks are kind of, these audiobooks on CD, they're kind of going the way of the dodo too, right? Because now we're doing something called downloading stuff from the web right to our phones. Around 2005, this new technology came out. It was called podcasting. And podcasting has grown ever since. And there's still some people who are like, what's a podcast? Well, I'm going to show you. Podcasting has grown ever since, and it's got lots of fiction and lots of nonfiction content that people can download and listen to. But I'm not here to tell you all about podcasting. I'm here to tell you about one podcast in particular, nightlightstories.net. Now, Nightlight Stories is done, it's produced by a husband and wife team, and the wife in this husband and wife team, whew, she's gorgeous, she's smart, she's funny, and she's got the voice of an angel. You're going to fall in love with her voice when you listen to it. I know, because I did. I fell so deeply in love with her voice that I married her. I'm the husband in the husband and wife team, and we write Nightlight Stories together. So what that means is at night we get together, we write up our stories. My wife puts on her teacher voice. She records them. We put them up for free in iTunes for teachers and students and anyone in the world to download and listen to. We currently have 58 stories. And wait, oh, I'm sorry. Wait, what? What? Yeah, honey. I told him how smart you were. I told him how funny you were. Yeah. Can I get back to my talk? Okay, great. So Nightlight Stories is out there for people to take from the web and use it how they want. One way teachers can use it, listening centers have been around for a long time too, right? But my daughter came home last night she's in kindergarten, and she came home with a pencil. And she said, look what I earned from being so good all week, Daddy, is this pencil. And then what happened to that pencil? You know what happens because it happens to your kids too. They get this pencil and they're so proud of it, and then it goes and it gets thrown in the junk drawer with all the other pencils they've earned all week, and they never use it and they never see it again. But what some teachers do is they take our audio stories, and even if you don't like Nightlight Stories, I mean, there's tons of other audio content out there. You take it and you burn it to CDs. Here's an example right here. And that's what goes in the prize bucket. So we've been doing this for a number of years now, and we found out that we just started doing some research, found out that just listening to audio stories, just listening, helps students become better readers. So we take those stories, burn them to CDs. Students then get those CDs, they take them home, and now they go, instead of throwing it in the junk drawer, they go home and they listen to it. Or they'll say, hey, when we're going grocery shopping, Mom, can we listen to the Nightlight Stories? Or hey, before bedtime or bath time, can we listen to Nightlight Stories? And this way, they're falling in love with literature, even in an age when they can't read. This picture, by the way, isn't from us. This picture was sent to us by a listener who had this other great idea. She listened to the stories and said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to burn them to CDs, and I'm going to give them out as goodie bags instead of goodie bags at my kid's birthday party, because then I'm giving the gift of literature that way. It's cool. That's Nightlight Stories. There's one other place that I think students could really be using audio, and that is during their commute. When students are on the bus or on the train or walk to school or whatever, many of them are listening to devices, yes? Right? And what are they listening to? Usually it's music, right? But I ask you, how often can you possibly listen to Taylor Swift tell you that she is never, ever, ever getting back together with you? Ever. It's exhausting. Students can be listening to audio stories in the car, on the bus, and I know some students that are on the bus for 2 hours a day. They drive an hour there and an hour back on the bus. That's 2 hours where the school district is responsible for the student's safety, but no educational content is happening. But it could be. Teachers could be using that audio content to either complement their curriculum or simply just to fall in love with literature. Hey, you know who else commutes? Pretty much everybody, right? Teachers commute. And that's why I created something called the AT-TipsCast. The AT-TipsCast is my podcast where it's got every episode features at least one technology tip that's free, right? We call it technology to differentiate the learning experience, right? And teachers can then use those technology tips and they can go back and apply them in their class. But there's something that's always bugged me about this, right? And that is, well, again, can we do a little role play again? Let's all pretend that you're teachers, okay? Some of you are, but let's pretend you're teachers. And you have stayed after school and you're participating in a professional development workshop. And I'm giving the workshop and you're learning all these strategies, right? You would get staff development credit for doing that. But what about the guy right now who's on the treadmill watching this TED video? He's getting the exact same content. Good job, guy, on treadmill. Keep going. Only a couple more minutes left. You're good. Keep going. That guy gets no staff development credit, and it doesn't make sense to me. The person who has downloaded these episodes, there's like 120 episodes they could download. They're listening to it in their car on their own time, and that person gets no staff development credit. Here, in our contemporary society where we have all these different modalities where people could be learning, we need to start honoring those. So knowing that, what we've done is we've taken the AT-TipsCast and we burn it down to CDs. And we take those CDs and we make a little, like a couple question book, like a couple questions. Those are question booklets you see on the other side of the CD. And teachers then check these out and they listen to and if they know about the device, like if they have an iPod, they can download it to that. We burn it onto CDs because that's the more universal approach, right? There's still so many teachers that don't know how to use these devices. They're still learning how to use them. So we use the technology they know, CDs, to teach them the technology they don't know. Instructional websites, low-tech tools, and apps and things like that. This has been an extremely popular form of professional development because we're respecting the teacher's time, we're respecting their commute, and people seem to like it. Okay, I have one last group to tell you about, and that is people with cognitive impairments. People with cognitive impairments need to have technology or need to have content presented to them in a small digestible chunks, need to be broken up. In fact, that's the name of the instructional strategy, is chunking. Not long blocks of text, short blocks of text or shorter videos. You know who else likes information presented in short digestible chunks? Everybody, right? Everybody. If you haven't been paying attention, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Feed, Vine, all of these social media platforms present information in short, digestible chunks, and that is one of the reasons they're so popular. So knowing that, the assistive technology team that I work on used that strategy of breaking stuff down into small, digestible chunks, and we created something called a strategy a day calendar. The strategy a day calendar is just that. We go out and we meet with teachers and we brainstorm instructional strategies, and then we come back and we split up the work and we all just put one instructional strategy per day on a calendar slide. Then what we do is we print them out, we give it to our vocational center, so it's actually students working on this. They cut it, they glue it, and they put the cardboard backing on it, and that's how we produce our strategy a day calendar. Incredibly popular form of professional development. There's one problem with it, and that's that it's paper-based, right? Some people like it because they get to rip it off, but there are plenty of teachers out there that we just can't afford to give it to every teacher in our school district. We just don't have the budget for it. So what we do is we put this up on our website as well. That's at lcps.org/AT, and if you had turned the captions on, you would have seen that down at the bottom, lcps.org/AT. So anyone can then participate in the Strategy a Day calendar, but I'm not really here to talk to you about our Strategy a Day calendar. I'm here to talk to you about your Strategy a Day calendar. I created one up in Google Slides. I gave this out to a bunch of teacher friends of mine. We started it and just said, hey, anyone in the world can participate by going to this link. Take your favorite teaching strategy, give it a title, give it a description, maybe a word or two about how you use it, give it a picture, and then give it a URL, if there is a URL. There's plenty of low-tech strategies out there, too, that don't have a URL associated. And we have created this virtual Strategy a Day calendar that anyone, this open-source Strategy a Day calendar that anyone can participate in. They can go in, and so any school district now could go and they could pull slides from this Strategy a Day calendar to make their own calendar. Just imagine if every teacher took 5 minutes, maybe 7 minutes, to make one calendar slide. We would have thousands, maybe millions of slides that we could pull from, so districts could then create their own calendar slide. Oh, I like this strategy, this one, not so much. This one, we have that in our district too. And people could make their own and distribute to their own teachers. So I'll take that idea and run with it. All of that said, I have one final thought, and that is this. All of these strategies were born from working with people with disabilities. So what if we changed our instructional approach? Instead of planning for students that don't have disabilities and then making all sorts of modifications and accommodations for students that do have disabilities, what if we changed that whole thing and flipped it on its ear? What if we planned and created materials for students that have disabilities and then just applied those to everybody else? Thank you.